I'm Sam. I'm the teen librarian at Bay County Public Library. You're joining us today for the QuaranTEEN Art Club, and we're going to do crafts with coffee filters. First we're going to do a sun catcher, and then we're going to do this cool flower, okay? So the first craft we're going to do is this really cool sun catcher. All you need is one coffee filter, some watercolor markers, and a spray bottle with water. So all you have to do first is, this is one that's been done and dried overnight. This is one that I have pre-colored but have not sprayed with water yet. So you can color it however you want. They look pretty cool like this. They look kind of like a planet. And if you want to learn cool facts about planets, go to NASA's website, nasa.gov. But you don't have to do just a round shape. You can cut out your own shapes. I once did a fall leaf. Last year I just scribbled colors all over it and sprayed it, and it turned out like that. And just cut out cool shapes. So I'm going to push my markers to the side. So I like to do this on aluminum foil because aluminum foil will not absorb the water, so your filter will absorb more color. It can be really faded if you do this on a paper towel. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to spray this filter I've colored. Okay, and all you have to do is let that sit overnight and the colors swirl together and they form kind of an earth, or you can do whatever planet you want to do. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is this flower out of coffee filters. And for this craft, instead of watercolor markers, I used food dye. Okay, so these are actually cool neon colors I had, but you can use whatever food colors you have at home. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to show you how to dye one of these coffee filters. So you see that I actually pre-dyed some. This one is the pink one and the blue one. And you're actually going to need 6 filters in total for one flower, okay? So I did 3 colors in blue, 3 filters in blue, 3 in pink, but you can do whatever you want. Alright, so I'm going to show you real quick how I dyed the filters. So I have a bunch of filters here. Here's one. So I'm just going to kind of flatten it out using my food dye. And again, I use aluminum because that way the filter will absorb more of the color. Okay, so kind of just fold it up. I'm folding it. Okay, you're going to end up with something like this. And all you have to do is dip it in the dye. This is dyed water. And just kind of let it soak up. It might take a minute. You can see how it's going up the paper. And you don't have to go all the way. You can go about halfway. Alright. I'm going to let that drip. And you just unfold them. This is a messy project, so beware. But the food dye is cool for if you want to use these flowers on food, because I would not use the markers if you're going to use the flowers to decorate food. So you just lay it out and let it dry overnight. And you can do a deeper, darker color. You can add more food color, whichever. I did probably 2 drops for these in each bowl. So I've got my 2 sets of filters. Alright, now I am going to get this cool effect where I did 2 colors, I am going to first take one set, my one color, my blue. I'll do blue first. Alright, so first you're going to fold all 3 filters together in half. Okay, then you're going to fold once more. So you have this. And you're going to fold again. You have that. And then one more time so that it's going to look like this. Okay? So I'm going to make what's called a scalloped edge. Alright? It's going to give it this sort of flower edge. It makes it look more like a flower when you put it all together. So this is an easy way you can cut it all together at one time. So this is going to be my bottom layer. So I'm just going to cut. All together. You might want some really good heavy-duty scissors because it's a little tough. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just want that sort of petal shape. Okay. See how when I open it, how it's got sort of a petal shape now on the edges, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing with this, but I actually want to cut this a little bit shorter. So we're going to fold it up in the same way that we did the blue one. We're going to make it just a little bit shorter. So again, half, okay, again, again, and one more time. Okay, so again, you have it like about that size, okay? So this time, you're going to cut further down. And this just makes it easier when you fold it all together so that you are not having to cut individual ones. Though it is a little harder to cut. You might have to trim it up a little bit, you know. Okay, so that's good. That's pretty good. Okay, so I got my bottom layer. I'm going to unfold. Okay, see how it's a little bit smaller when we put it on top? You could even make it smaller than that if you like. Okay, so before we get started, we're actually going to stagger the petals a little bit. The scalloped edge, we're going to stagger. So we don't want it to be lined up perfectly, because this gives it more of a flower look if it's not lined up perfectly. Okay? So we can see that it's not lined up like that. I'm going to do the same thing with the pink ones. Let's try to kind of stagger it. Okay. All right, so got it all lined up. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to place our finger in the middle and just sort of pinch the bottom. You can see what I'm doing here, but I'm pinching the bottom and just pushing it through with my finger. Okay? You can kind of fold it up like this, whichever. You can do a kind of a nice double fold like that, however you want to do it. Now, normally you would staple the end. Now, if you don't have a stapler at home, you can do what I did, and I actually used one of these little twist ties I got off a loaf of bread, because these usually come on loaves of bread. So I keep these, I collect these all in a drawer, so they're pretty useful. So I'm just going to tie the bottom, okay? So just sort of tie it all together. Now, the second step is to actually start from the center. Take all these layers, start from the center layer. You can kind of flatten it out first. This helps to flatten it out a little bit. Okay, so start with the inner layer and just start kind of fluffing it up and scrunching it. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep doing that. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's still gonna look like a flower. It can be a little difficult at first until you get a rhythm going. Okay, and just keep going for each layer. Okay, and you get the idea. Eventually, when you're done, it's gonna look like this. All right, thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for more QuaranTEEN Art Club